My name's Todd. I co-founded Sanborn Canoe Company out of Winona, Minnesota. Our family's been going to the Boundary Waters and spending time on the water for, well, as long as I've been alive. So it's sort of a natural thing to want to start creating gear and use that then to get into the outdoors.
My name is Zach Fellman. I founded and work at Sanborn Canoe Company. I've always been a craftsman of some sort, an artist. I'm always trying to make things. So it doesn't, I don't know if it grew into this, it obviously did, but it would have grown into something. But I've always had that in me to make something. So the canoe is our grandpa's. He built it with the story goes, he built it with some Boy Scouts back in the 60s. That story changes every time he tells it. But anyways, we were talking to him, a family reunion, and he was telling us about building it, so we're like, oh, that'd be fun.
We initially just started out with some guys who put in some money and some time and made a canoe and some paddles, and we realized fairly quickly that we weren't bad at it, at minimum. Now I think we make a really quality paddle. If there's water, people need to go onto it for some reason. And so forever people have been making boats and then paddles to make it go. So we're mostly a continuation of that. But in that, I think that every project allows for creativity. So our paddles don't look exactly like anybody else's paddles. Even initially when we were trying, they didn't look like other people's paddles. So you put yourself into everything you make, your personality and your desires for what it might be, taking into account the use of it, like how it's going to be used. So that then influences the shape of the blade. It influences the size of the blade, the length of the shaft, the feel of the grip. So there's a lot that goes into each of those things. And then in that, like, you can just come up with a shape, but then try to put the pieces together that creates something beautiful and something new.
A lot of it, what I enjoy about it is the process of designing the product, not only the product, but like the processes to make the product. Because there's not like a handbook of how to make a canoe paddle or how to paint a canoe paddle. It's a very specific thing. So a lot of it has been just learning those processes and creating those processes. We make things to be used. So like recently we wanted to make the lightest paddle we could ever make. So we started with that and grew it from there. So we learned new processes to use carbon fiber and other materials that would let us make the lightest paddle in the world.
Every time we come up with something new, that's the thing. My favorite, though, over the long haul is our Minnesota paddle. I like it for a lot of reasons. I like that it's strong, it's durable. We've paddled up rapids and just wedged ourselves over rocks with it and not paid any attention. Like, at a certain point, it was just a tool. It wasn't anything important. It was just a tool to get us over the next hurdle, and it passed with flying colors.
We only did this to start because we wanted to make stuff to take on our trips that we were already going to do 10 times a year, like it didn't turn into a business for quite a while. I think the other thing would be it takes a while.
We didn't necessarily jump in with both feet in that we didn't make it so we had to make money right away. It was just a slow process of growth, doing something that we liked and probably would have been doing anyway. So I guess it's just finding something that you can invest in without necessarily relying on it right away. For us, that's been key. Living in Minnesota in general, it's pretty easy to get on the water. Living in Winona, you can't help but be inspired by nature. You're inspired to go hiking, to go canoeing, to go fishing, to be outdoors. A while back, we started the Scout field log on our site, which then we're able to feature people going on adventures.
Just getting out there, it's not the epic Mount Everest trip all the time. It's a weekend adventure to the local river or just getting out with friends and that kind of thing.
In a lot of ways, that's what we're about. I mean, we're about making quality gear that looks good and performs well, but we're also about the stories associated with it. I mean, we hope that a paddle doesn't just get made and then put on a wall. We hope that it inspires adventures.